All right, good morning and welcome in here. It has been too long. Lloyd, good to see your face again.
Good to see you too.
It's nice to hear your voice again.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's good to see everybody in the chat. Check Lloyd's new lookout. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stick 'em up.
You look like Pete Weber.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? I am.
I am. What a thing to say. They asked him about it. And he was like, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
But all-time quote.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Why don't y'all get going? Get to running.
Good morning.
I feel like
welcome
a cool
in.
Dominican baseball player.
He's big poppy.
Spent my bonus money on these. Actually stole them from the gas station on 4th of July. They were busy.
That's about as American as it gets.
That's right.
There, my friend.
Buddy, these are mine. Remember 1776?
It's my glasses now.
Like George Washington.
Appreciate everybody joining us. It's been too long. It's been a while. Appreciate everybody sticking with us through the Thursday. We took 2 days off of 4th of July and then a third day off for the 4th of July yesterday.
I had to mail my cousin away.
Everyone traveling around, getting back. We are officially home and here. And the travel season is done, I believe, Lloyd, unless you're going on any trips anytime soon. We will be here every day until Clemson, until the end of August.
We did get an offer from this group chat I'm in where I don't know anybody, which is the gift that keeps on giving.
Awesome.
They're hysterical. Shout out to them. But they have somebody that where's the SEC Media Day?
I don't know where it is this year.
They have somebody offered their house for us to stay if we want to go.
Actually.
But I don't know them, so it could work out. There's one of two ways this could go. Chopped up in somebody's freezer, or we have a great time for free.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
They can't
really
take
good.
both of us.
Could be really good. It's in Atlanta.
Yep.
So it would be July 14th through 17th in Atlanta.
We bring Christian. He would be the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
You can have him.
Hey, don't kill us. Don't hurt us.
Take the boy.
Take this one.
Take the boy.
Shoo him off. As Christian did turn, how old was it? 33 now?
Yeah.
As he turned his birthday
older than I
3
am.
days ago. Yeah. No, Christian's birthday was just a couple days ago, July 5th. Christian, happy birthday, buddy. I texted him, wishing him happy birthday, Lloyd. I'm sure you did as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was really struggling. The ex did not text him happy birthday.
I saw that.
He was waiting on it all day. Would not stop talking to me about it. Still hasn't texted me yet.
I don't think she knows it's your birthday,
like,
Christian.
buddy.
Y'all dated for a week. That should be your sign.
Well, it's the classic move of if she wanted to get back with him, that's the easiest in ever is happy birthday, and then we're talking again, you know?
Well,
So that's what he was banking on, and it just didn't happen.
And for his sake, he can't be like, hey, are you going to text me? It's my birthday. So it really is like balls in somebody else's court.
Yeah. You're completely out of control.
Man, he is completely out of control.
And he's probably going to hate that we're talking about this, but he's opened the door by being just so open and transparent about his love life on this show that everyone wants to hear about it, Christian, and you know that. But we appreciate you guys joining us, sticking with us. Hunter Hall, wait, this isn't the bathroom at the beach.
Yeah, audio's a little bit better.
Audio's a little bit better. We try, but it still worked out. We still got you a little show from the beach as I was on vacation. But we are back, and LSU football made some fireworks during the time we were gone. Had some recruiting additions yesterday. They make a new hire. We'll get to all of that. Obviously, in recruiting, they add a 5-star edge in Trenton Henderson out of Pensacola, Florida. He chose the Tigers, which was the big splash commitment over the weekend. I have a video where 247 just does a little, about a minute on the 6'4", 225-pound edge rusher. that they compare to Azeez Ojulari, older brother of former LSU Tiger BJ Ojulari. But it's just a little discussion on who LSU will be getting and new 5-star commit Trenton Henderson.
For 28, edge Trenton Henderson, currently uncommitted.
Henderson has everything that you want in an edge defender: burst, bend, length, change of direction, hovering just under 6'5", 220 pounds with pretty encouraging arm measurements. Double-digit sacks as a junior, which is even more impressive when you think about the fact that he was primarily dropping into coverage as a sophomore. One of the few prospects in the top 32 that we haven't gotten a chance to see this offseason, but he has all of the tools to develop into a premier pass rusher at the next level.
Florida State is the in-state school to keep an eye on. LSU's made a great impression. Michigan has done a great job. Auburn's another one, but for me, I think USC is the team to beat. He's got no issues leaving Florida for California. I like the Trojans as of this point to get this one done.
Well, buddy, sorry to break it to you. You were wrong. But
You're ready to learn Cajun, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, this is a guy that's got the build of a very, very good edge rusher, and it was a huge addition, huge announcement when he committed over the weekend, and then that was followed up. What you got?
Who would, just seeing those highlights, just seeing those highlights, who would you comp him to? LSU player, of course.
Yes. He's long and rangy. You can see, I mean, he's got the arms. Like he had the long sleeves on. Like, it does look like an Ojulari.
It
like
does.
The Azeez comparison, obviously, he went to Georgia, I believe.
But I didn't really see him play.
Right. It does, but I can see the similarities to BJ through relation. I see a little bit of Key in just the build and the makeup. What you got?
Chase on.
Yeah. Well, to me, like, whenever I saw Calevon, it was a lot of Arden Key out of high school.
Yeah.
You know?
So
I see a similar
6'4", 225,
yes.
like more athletic than not. Like, can obviously put weight on, but the burst off the line of scrimmage, just the freak ability to get to the passer. Like, you can see that he's a little raw.
Definitely.
But if you develop him, that is somebody that you have at LSU. This is how you start building defenses.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing that you're doing when you get a commit like this is you see the athletic ability and the talent and the build, and you almost look at it like you're molding clay. Like, bring him into LSU, get him on the weight program, the diet, all of those things, and he gets to sit down and work with Kevin Peoples every day, and it's going to be like, okay, this is pretty special.
Like a project, but not really.
Right, and he fits the mold of what Peoples like. Swinson. I mean, another guy
Swinson's
that's
a good
got
one.
that same build where he's tall, put together, lanky, rangy. I like the commitment of Trenton Henderson, but obviously, and Fawn says it in the chat, all the talk is cool until they sign the papers. I understand. But there's still, like, you should still be able to get excited about commitments even though it's not signing day. Like, I know we've been hurt. We've been hurt too hard before. Our hearts have been broken. But you can still get excited about commitments because more likely than not, they're not all going to decommit and go somewhere else. These guys are committing, like, majority of them will end up on LSU's roster.
And I get it.
But I do understand. The second commitment of over the weekend was a riser, as LSU gets the commitment of Haynesville safety/athlete Isaiah Washington, who said LSU is the place he's been having his mind on. He is a 3-star safety out of Haynesville, an in-state product, who's very, very talented. And like I said, he's rising up boards. He's not a guy that's been set in stone, top guy for 2 years coming into it. He's a guy I think he's the number 3 safety in Louisiana. And like Jarrett Roser says in this post, the Golden Tornado star has been one of Louisiana's fastest rising prospects. And it's going to be similar to me, kind of the discussion right now with the rise is so much like Aiden Anding. When he shot up after that state championship game against Zachary, when he was covering Tradez Green trying to guard his now teammate. he started to rise and then ended up becoming the number one corner in the state of Louisiana. To me, Isaiah Washington is in a similar projection right now where he is rising up boards, and hopefully as the season continues, he will continue to stack and jump and move up those boards. Another good commitment for LSU, as those were the two additions for the Tigers over the weekend, before the announcement yesterday that they made a hire. So those were the roster-ish additions as they were commitments. And then LSU gets the news that they have another guy coming on over to Baton Rouge from Oxford, Mississippi, as Ole Miss's coordinator of recruiting strategy. Kevin Bolden will be LSU football's assistant general manager. Obviously, Bolden worked with Austin Thomas at Ole Miss and is now joining Austin Thomas and will be the assistant general manager under him on this staff that has been put together. Obviously, Ole Miss is a team that has fared well in the recent era of college football, where they've done well in the transfer portal. They've been able to put together really good classes. You've seen what Austin Thomas has been able to do since being here. And now he again adds another piece to his staff that was with him at Ole Miss and is now joining him at LSU. As much as these things can kind of fly under the radar, when you see Austin Thomas add a guy that he trusts and he believes in, obviously enough to bring him over from Ole Miss to LSU, it's a big deal because of what Austin Thomas means to this football program. He is a guy that has revamped that side of LSU football. You remember the article Wilson Alexander did not that long ago where they broke down how they construct the rosters, the roster management, all of those things. Austin Thomas has completely rejuvenated LSU from that standpoint, where before he got here, there wasn't really a direction in that field when it came to LSU football. And now it seems like LSU is almost on the forefront there. They put together the number one transfer portal class, consistently have done really good in high school football recruiting. Now Austin Thomas adds to his staff with Kevin Bolden, who will be the assistant general manager. Lloyd, your thoughts on this hire for LSU football?
I believe you hit the nail on the head, because it does come down to, you're starting to see this become more and more since the addition of Austin Thomas getting the pieces he needs. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, I would start to really be frustrated with LSU, as you saw Ole Miss kind of be where LSU is now, as they were one of the teams that was on the forefront of roster building, using NIL in a regard to get the better players out of the portal. They try. I mean, you saw Walter Nolan. You saw what they did to be able to build a championship-style roster, give Lane Kiffin the pieces he needed, and they fell just short. But it was definitely a new look Ole Miss that was, this team's competitive. They're good.
Yes.
And they have talent everywhere. And now you add a Austin Thomas back to LSU, who continues to amaze me with just his flirtation with LSU, where it was LSU, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, LSU. You've seen him hop around, but now it feels like he's very much solidified in what he's going to do at LSU and has that role. Now it feels like he has a definitive role.
Right.
Him and Ed Orgeron, were hot and cold. It was like they were dating. It was like the relationship was on, it was great, then it was off, and it was like, I'm leaving. And now you see him fall into a role with the NIL world, and now he's starting to add the pieces he needs to be able to compete, because you've seen the way that the coaching staff has changed. When you have to allocate funds in a different way with the $20 million, and LSU kind of taking pieces away and now adding pieces sneakily back. And if this is the guy that Austin Thomas wants, I trust him implicitly.
Yes, I think that last sentence right there is the perfect description of how to feel about this move. If Austin Thomas is saying this is who he wants, this is what will take LSU to the next level and allow them to continue to grow and prosper in this new transfer portal NIL type age, you say, okay, here you go, have it, and you be happy with it. But next up on the LSU football, I want everyone to just sit back and enjoy this video that came out a while back, obviously before the weekend, but I watched it pretty consistently over the weekend because it got me about as fired up as anything has outside of the LSU baseball national championship over the last month or so. And I was already pretty juiced up for August 30th, and this brought it to a whole nother level.
Okay, we're creating a mental edge, right? What is your mental edge? What is your edge? We happen to be at Tiger Stadium this morning, right? Most cherished place on earth. Look around. Look around. You know, sun's not even up. We're out here. Welcome to Death Valley. All the seats, all the fans coming to see you. Pay tribute to those 3 letters on your chest, man. Those 2 colors. That's what we're about. 1-0 mentality is every day. Is every day. We have an edge about ourselves. What's your edge? That's the challenge today. The challenge is how hard can you push yourself to create that mental edge, to create that edge of our team, to dominate no matter what is in front of us.
Hey, we got this. Come on. Come here. I got him.
What do you got? You finish it off. Finish the job. Intent. Move. Fast.
Hey, let's go. Bang on me. We gotta do what you do. How bad y'all want it? What you willing to do to get it?
What a beautiful place. Woo! No place I'd rather be.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, that right there makes you feel feelings that only LSU football can make you feel. Fonz in the chat. Well, I'll BRB. Need to go to the restroom. Fair enough. That is as good as he gets. Shout out to Jacob Flint, who just went on an all-timer right there. Technically the voiceover. I mean, I put it out on
Can't
Twitter.
fake crazy white boy.
No, you sure can't. I put it out on Twitter when I saw this video, and I was like, you know, I didn't think there was anybody more ready for August 30th than I was. And then I saw this clip, and it looks like there's about, 100 guys that are more ready for August 30th than I am. I mean, the clip of Perk saying, we love this. We came here to work. We loved, dude.
I love this shit.
God.
And that was the one, like, aside from Flint, who it feels like he's really starting to find his place as the strength and conditioning coordinator. Like, obviously, when Brian Kelly made the hire, the big news was that he couldn't get the guy from Notre Dame to come with him.
Right.
And he gets Flint to come, and then you're like, okay, let's see what this looks like. Obviously, replacing a legend and
Yes.
LSU and Tommy Moffitt, and you're like, okay. And people were like, well, you have to make a change. If you're going to make a change from that era, it kind of starts with their strength and conditioning guy, because who spends more time with them than the strength and conditioning coach? Nobody. He's around them 24/7. He has different workout groups. He is there all day.
Yes.
And then you're starting to see Flint kind of mold this and to get very comfortable in how he attacks the strength and conditioning, the way he coaches and talks to the guys. And I think that, but aside from that being very telling, Perk.
Yes.
Like the vocal part of this aspect of Perk stepping up, being a leader. There's no world in which he thought he would be here for another year. Like, before the season started,
Right.
You would think that I'm going to be in the league. And now it feels like he's almost accepted and embraced the fact that, okay, this is for sure my last year, and I think that I can add something more to this team as opposed to just being a talented guy. That tells me two things. One of which, he's like, the health is there, and he's enjoyed his time at LSU, and now it feels like this is kind of like a victory lap, and he feels very solidified what he's going to do on the field position-wise.
Yes, that plus he knows this is probably the most talent he's been surrounded by on
Right.
that side of the ball since he's been here. Like, in 2023, it was Perk and Perk. It was Harold Perkins playing corner, defensive end, linebacker, nose tackle,
Rush.
safety, everything. It
Running
was Harold
back.
Perkins. I mean, he was your defense. And then last season, obviously, it improved, but he gets hurt. Didn't really get to enjoy that aspect. Now, this is the most talent he's had around him. He's getting healthy. It's his money year. It's all kind of lining up perfectly for him. And you can tell, like you said, he's in the right mental state for it. Like, I see the videos of them working out in the weight room. Perk is the first guy. Like, Don McKinley power cleaned, like, whatever, 350 or whatever it was. And Perk was the first guy to go chest bump him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. You start to notice him
yes.
more and more. And I know this is all like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, you could say what you want about it. But these are little things that if you watch and you notice, they make a difference. Because look at the LSU baseball team. Like, was that not one of the first things that we noticed? I was like, they're
tight.
They're tight.
Yes.
Like, they're toughened together. But you could see the chemistry part of it come together extremely quickly. And, like, you asked me, like, who's kind of like the heartbeat of the team? And I was like, for some reason, it feels like it's Eddie Yaman.
Yes.
And he didn't even play. He redshirted, but you could see first guy out the dugout, top step, and then you see him with Aaron Beatty. You see him start the chant. You see him do these things where it's like, damn, this guy doesn't have an on-field role, but he made himself have a role.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, that kind of stuff come to fruition. With Perk, it's always felt like he's been in the background. It's always been like, hey, best player, but humble,
quiet,
doesn't talk, quiet, but he's still your best player on the team. Now he's taken that next step of, I know all these guys. I'm kind of the old head. And it's like they're all looking to me, not only because of the way I play, but now the way that I lead. And I think that does make a huge difference.
And that next link, if you want to click that and open that picture up, that's the packed leaders for LSU football. You go from left to right. Obviously, Harold Perkins is
Demon
included.
time.
He is one of the how many groups are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 packed leaders. You've got Bo Bordelon, Jordan Gilbert, Jack Pyburn, Harold Perkins, DJ Chester, both Weeks brothers, Bauer Sharp, Garrett Nussmeier, Chris Hilton. From left to right, those are the packed leaders. Obviously, it's something LSU does every single offseason of these are your 10 leaders. They have their group of guys, and they've got to hold them accountable for workouts, meals, classes, go down the list, everything that they have to take care of. These are the guys that hold them accountable. These are the leaders of the LSU football team going into the season, especially this offseason, obviously. And, I mean, the guys you see on the list, I mean, Pyburn, transfer, Bauer Sharp, transfer. Those are two guys that have come in and obviously made an impact from a leadership standpoint. And you're hoping to see that roll over onto the on-the-field impact. Then you have guys that you know that are going to make the on-the-field impact. Garrett Nussmeier, your starting quarterback. Chris Hilton, Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks, DJ Chester, Jordan Gilbert. Go down the list. Those are your packed leaders for LSU football, and it really does feel like it is shaping up well. So the offseason has seemed to be a success, and we'll find out more as we get into the end of July and into August, because it's now shaping up into football time where you have media days coming up this month. A month later, fall camp will start. You'll get all the fall camp news and things like that. You'll get to see some football again. And then before you know it, August 30th will be here, and it'll be LSU versus Clemson under the lights in the fake Death Valley. So going back to that video, I think when you really look at all the different pieces of it, you see the leadership from guys like Perk, Whit Weeks, Nussmeier out. Like, it just you go down the list of these guys, you've got the leaders, you have the talent, and it feels like it is shaping up well. As much as we talked about it after that recruiting class and that portal class came in, that this was the most talented team ever, what did we say the summer needed to be spent doing after the spring game? Because you could see the talent in the spring game, but there was a key thing missing, and it was the mesh aspect. The guys were not meshing. The offense was not a unit really yet. The defense was still figuring out a lot of new faces in new places, and it seems like that family, that chemistry aspect has been a big-time focus over the summer, and it's something that we have discussed a good bit when you see pictures like these, as you see the 2 Weeks brothers and Jack Pyburn, and then the next slide, you've got Mansour Delane, Harold Perkins, Jakeem Jackson, Michael Turner, and Wallace Foster, I believe.
And Perk.
Yes, and Perk, obviously.
Beat Bappa. Need both if you're going to win.
Not wrong.
Not wrong.
I mean,
he said Endicott and STM.
That comment was hilarious. Endicott and St. Thomas More was pretty funny. But I mean, I'm looking at a bunch of guys that I think are going to play a lot of football for LSU. Harold Perkins, Wes Weeks, Whit Weeks, Jack Pyburn, Mansour Delane. Like, those guys are going to play a whole lot. Jakeem Jackson, going to play a lot of football. But the part I love is that you brought in all these transfer portal guys, and that's always the first discussion is, well, you got a lot of new guys on your roster. Are you going to be able to field a team? Because you don't want to field a roster. You don't want to put a roster on the field. You want to put a team on the field. Can you do that with all of these transfer portal guys? And it seems like they've all meshed really well. From the Nussmeier Goodnight video, I saw one the other day that they did again where it was, who's your celebrity look-alike? Mm-hmm. And Aaron Anderson goes Lil Uzi Vert. The next one is Nuss, and he goes, Aaron Anderson is his celebrity look-alike. And so, like, you just tell, like, that it's a family. They are a team. From that standpoint, it seems like it has been a success over the summer for LSU football. Next up on the headline, something we have not spoken about and has been a hot topic, and I want to ask the chat first their opinion. You guys, how do you all feel about jersey patch ads on the LSU football uniform? Look, I know that this is not a traditionalists LSU football radio show podcast. This is not what this has ever been.
YouTube, subscribe.
We do still respect the tradition of LSU football, though. And I think it's an interesting discussion point because it will look different. Lloyd, I'll start it with you. Your thoughts on the announcement that LSU football will be having some ad space on the beautiful football uniforms.
I mean, it's hard to look at this and go, you know what they need is a patch, because I've been of the impression that LSU uniforms are some of the best in the sport,
yes,
if not the best in the sport. And also the fan base, very traditional. Like, you saw the uproar from whether it be media members to fans to everybody in between about, why aren't they wearing the traditional uniforms? They're always wearing the all whites.
Right.
And then, like, that's what we're going to complain about?
Or the purples or the golds.
Right. Now they got gold jerseys,
right,
and it's like, that's not my LSU. It's not. Give me the gold helmets, white jerseys, gold bottoms. And so for that contingency, which I agree, like, I do think these are some of the best uniforms in the sport, and it is up there with one of the most iconic classic uniforms. Now, with that said, if you want to compete, if you want to win national championships, LSU, with this addition of having to spend money out of their own pocket, out of the $20 million that is now coming from the school, from your athletic department, LSU operating at an $8 million deficit is not something that they probably feel very comfortable with in terms of you're losing money at a place that notoriously, this is where your profit center is made. Like, this is how LSU makes money. It donates this athletic fund back to the school. To not have that money is something that they started kicking the tires on, and they say, how do we make the $8 million back? How do we make a profit? How do you want to compete? And if it's selling jersey space, that's where it's going to be. And at some point, you'll see it, you'll hate it, then you'll get used to it. Like, we were talking about it before the show of, I compared it to the NBA, where it's like, once I heard the idea, I was, like, vehemently against it. And then you see it, and you're like, oh, this is not that bad. Like, you kind of ignore it, or you see it, and then you don't even see it anymore.
Right.
And I do think that this is a bigger leap for me, because it is something I do, like, actually care about.
Yes.
But if it helps LSU compete, make money, and win, and get more transfer portal guys, and it's something that helps you competitively, at some point they were going to do it if you want to be on the forefront of things, like we've asked LSU to do for the last 10 years or the last 5 years with NIL, where they kind of dipped their toe in. Now they're leading the charge for something NIL-related and money-related, then go do it. Because if you're not first, in this case, like, you could be last. You could negotiate a deal that maybe nobody else can get. Like, you'll be on the forefront of, this is a contract that you're signing. You don't have anything to base it off of. And if you're able to strike a deal that inks you a ton of money, go do it and be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, because the revenue sharing ruling, you have to now come up with $20.5 million for your sports in general. And obviously, football is the one that is going to make the majority of that 20.5 and fill the pot that almost everyone's going to eat out of. And if you want to be able to pay the rosters $20.5 million and then pay the coaching staff the millions of dollars you have to pay them, and then go down the list of the other sports, you have to find ways to bring in revenue. And so from the logical standpoint of, okay, find a way to make money, I get it. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of it because I think it'll take a while getting used to, because I think with the NBA, because I do agree with that discussion that the NBA patches just kind of ended up blending in. Fawn said, I feel the same way I did with basketball. After a while, the patch will blend into the normal. Plus, it will probably be too big, kind of like the bowl patches. I do think the size of it will matter, because if it's too small, it'll kind of just look like it's stupid and out of place. Why is it there? And if it's too big, it'll take up too much real estate and look even worse. So it'll be important just kind of once it's out there to see what it looks like, and then we can really feel how we want to feel about it. I don't like messing with the tradition of the uniforms or whatever, but if it's going to make LSU money and it's going to bring in #1 transfer portal and top 10 recruiting classes and allow LSU to continue to compete for national championships, would you all trade a blank uniform for a national championship?
Yeah.
I think so. And if this is what it's going to take for LSU to financially be able to stay competitive in the sport, then you just kind of have to roll with it. And that's my thought process, my feelings on it.
I mean, there was also a contingency that saw Oklahoma State put QR codes, or try to put QR codes on their helmets, and people were like, why isn't LSU doing this? It's like, it was a ridiculous request and something that didn't work, and they couldn't do it. But at that point, LSU was so far behind in the NIL world that it was like, whatever it takes.
Right.
And now you're getting to more of a simplified version of that, where somebody's going to stroke a check to LSU Athletics to be able to put their logo on a jersey. And I see like the contingency in the chat of, oh, well, they already have an SEC patch, or like whenever it was 120 years in the SEC or whatever it was. 125. And then they had, bowl game patches. And it's like, I see both sides of it. It's like, that's only for one game, and you don't really,
right.
You expect to see it. Like, regardless of the bowl game, it's like, oh, it's kind of a cool deal. You get the Cotton Bowl patch or whatever bowl patch, or if it's like a college football play, you want that patch.
Right.
And I get that idea that it's just one game, but if it's something that doesn't clutter up the uniform and look absolutely egregious, which I think the design of this is going to be impactful.
Yes.
Like, that's going to be a big part of it. But like I said, the more you see it, the more you'll get used to it. But like I see both sides of it for sure, where it's like, ugh, because you're messing with. And I do wonder, if this gets passed, how many other teams follow suit?
I think a lot.
Like, do you see like Michigan doing it, or Penn State, or Ohio State, where they have very much traditional uniforms that Notre Dame, like, they have some of the ugliest uniforms I've ever seen whenever they rolled out the pinstripes, but they also have a very classic look.
Right.
And I think LSU is like in the ballpark of that conversation of traditional uniforms that you see, like the USC LSU game. Like, oh, these are two iconic like
UCLA
colors.
LSU game.
Yes. And like, so I wonder if that is part of the conversation, where you see how many other schools follow suit. Like, Auburn just changed from Under Armour to Nike. I can see them doing it. I can see Florida doing it. Like, when they would go from Nike to Jumpman. Like, these are like all new logos that you put on the uniform, but people love them. Like, people love the check. People love the Jumpman. This is something that's different, but it just depends on what it looks like. But I also do wonder how much of a revenue stream it's going to cost. And if you hear the number, does that change your mind at all?
I think that's an interesting argument.
$50 million?
Yeah, I like it. And then LSU rolls out with the a top 5 recruiting class and another top 5 portal class right after. I mean, sometimes they're causation versus correlation. Brian Burgess, one patch isn't going to hurt anything, but don't go overboard with it. If it is say it's a Canes logo, Lloyd, and it is a purple and gold and white uniform, and then you've got red and yellow or whatever, the Canes logo right on the shoulder. That's the part to me where it's like, that's what'll make you look off, is that it's going to be another color that's just there.
Yeah, I think that whoever, and I don't even know who the sponsor would be, but obviously they have somebody in mind. If there's
obviously discussions happening.
Yeah, somebody has already made the move to be able to purchase this real estate, so to speak. But no, I think and then part of that conversation is, if you are that business owner or company, you don't want to stand out like that. Like, you don't want it to be like this to be a bad PR move, or like, ugh, like this. No, I think you work with LSU on this to make sure it looks as accommodating as possible. And then for you, it rolls out like another version of the logo that you get to use that's now purple and gold, because there are conversations that you have to have within LSU and sports properties to use like that, like swash,
yes,
that color, because those are copyrighted and owned by LSU. If you're able to get that side of it, like that's another thing that you're paying for that would make it more expensive, but now you're working with the team, and now you can use those color gradients and hex codes to be able to make more, like, and now you have a purple and gold LSU official logo.
Because that, to me, is where the discussion comes in. It's just going to come down to, like, what does it look like?
Yeah. And I think, like, LSU is very good about this kind of stuff, to where I don't think they'll roll out anything egregious or that looks off in any way. Like, they're going to make sure that it is very much in line with what LSU looks like.
I agree. And I think that at some point it won't be as much of a conversation as it is right now.
Yeah.
Because I understand the tradition. Look, I love and respect the tradition as much as, maybe not as much as anyone else, but as much as I can. But I do understand, like, it is 2025, and there's a new era and age of college sports, and you got to figure out how to be competitive and find the different loopholes. We talked about it last week with the revenue sharing, is you got to find ways to make the most of it. My next question, Lloyd, is the debate between logo patches on the jersey and then on the field. What is your take on, because I remember Arkansas, because this was there last season. Like, they had this on the field last year. You were there in person. What were your thoughts on seeing it there? And then how would you feel if that's what Tiger Stadium looked like?
And you brought up a good point about the way that LSU's field is constructed with the yard markers, where it's already very busy.
Because this was my point before the show. Me and Lloyd were talking about it. And when you look at Arkansas's right here, they put them on the 25s, obviously. I feel like it's a quarter of the way down the field. That's perfect location to put them. Every other field in the country, there is not a number on the 25-yard line. LSU's field is different in that aspect, that standpoint. They have numbers on every 5 yards. And so, in my opinion, I think it'll just kind of look cluttered because the open space won't be there. And so if you put a Canes logo or a Gordon McKernan G there, like, I just think it could end up looking cluttered because you have a lot of things on the field where you have the SEC logo, and last year LSU did, they had the number 3 on the field. I want to see, where was that at last year? Was it the 25?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't feel like that looked cluttered. And so I guess that could be an interesting argument on, the field has worked already with some things. So, yeah, I don't think that looks too cluttered. Like, when I remember looking at the field, I don't remembering, that stands out, that doesn't look good. Obviously, the emotional aspect of that makes you look at it differently. But I just think it's an interesting discussion because I feel better. I'm cooler with the jersey patch than I am the field patch.
I thought that was an interesting dilemma that you brought up, because I was more okay with the field because they've done so many different things, like whether it was the Greg Brooks or you had the 100 Years in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
Like, they've thrown some logos on the field that it didn't feel like it was too busy. So if it's something that's done tastefully, because you're like, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Like, they have, and this is something unique to LSU, so there is more going on the football field. But I think that they've been able to maneuver this thing with whether it be the 100 Years in Tiger Stadium, Greg Brooks, all the different things that they've been able to kind of place on the field, that it doesn't feel as busy, because now you have you have an open 25 on both sides, and that you can probably put a sponsorship. And if it's something like that, I think that's the only place it can go. Like, I don't want to see it in the end zone. I don't want to see it anywhere else. But yeah, like you said, it kind of depends on what it is. But yeah, this is fine with me in terms of, I say that Arkansas looks ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they have 2 different logos.
Right, you got Tyson Chicken, you have Walmart. Like, it just depends on what you do with it, because the print out of Walmart on the field is, I guess that's fine, because considering the amount of money that they're probably paying and how you have to keep them happy. And then Tyson Chicken stands out like a sore thumb because it's red and yellow. On Arkansas, it's red and white, like that's not their colors. So it just feels like it's a little busy and a little slutty.
Yeah, that's the part. I don't like two different logos on the field because then it looks like
You're poor.
you're just taking the money from anybody. Like just one company gets the sponsorship. That's the only logo that gets. And now if it's because I would almost feel better, Lloyd. Would it be better to have the same logo on your jersey and the field, or would you want would it be better to have two different? Or I know we're kind of overthinking and really breaking it down from every standpoint possible, but I don't know. I think it really just depends on when it happens and you see it. That's when you'll really know how you feel about it. Like we can all make the assumption at this point what we think, how we feel, but really I think it's just going to come down to when I lay my eyes on the uniform and I see a patch. I'll give you my real raw thoughts whenever I see it in that moment.
Yeah,
and I think regardless of how I feel about it then, over time it's going to be something that just kind of blends in and you kind of forget about. Like it's not going to be something that for the rest of my life I'm going to think about the Raising Cane's logo. This is what ended my fandom and my love for LSU football. No. It's going to end up blending in and it's going to be whatever at some point. So it's an interesting discussion, and I find it interesting that LSU is the first kind of school to discuss the jersey patch. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong. If someone else, another team or school has done it, let me know. But I think LSU is the first one I remember really seeing, and I think it's good for LSU to kind of be on the forefront of something.
Yeah,
because then you can maybe cut a deal that is bigger than what's going to end up becoming the kind of average, because there's nothing to kind of base it off of when you're talking to whoever the ad is being cut with or different things like that. So it's always good to be on the forefront of something in this new day and age, and I think right now LSU's got to come up with a lot of money, and this is one of the new ways that they're going to do that. In other news, it was announced over the weekend or last week that there is a new one-time transfer portal window. The NCAA Committee on Legislative Relief has issued a waiver to permit athletes whose schools place on a designated student athlete list to enter the portal from July 7th to August 5th. The DSAs, designated student athletes, are grandfathered in athletes exempt from roster limits. There is no limit to how many athletes a school can designate as a DSA. The deadline to submit the DSA lists is July 6th. However, DSAs are now free to transfer this summer and must be released from their contract prohibition with their existing schools per documents. The way you can be eligible to be put on the DSA list if he/she would have been removed from the school's 2025-26 roster due to new roster limits, was an eligible member of the team in 24-25, was recruited and assured by a school of a 2025-26 roster spot. So it's just another window to be able to transfer with more rules added to it. It's just another step in the new era of college sports now, especially, and obviously the one that this is going to bring the most attention for is college football, because that is what rules the world. So we will see this is another one where you'll just kind of see the effects, more so than the ruling. You won't really talk about it again until there's a situation that comes up where it happens and it has a major effect on what could happen. So into the two claps this morning. Garrett Nussmeier gets two claps, huh, Lloyd? Mm-hmm. As QB1 is engaged. He popped the question over the weekend and has gotten engaged. Garrett Nussmeier got down on one knee and put a ring on it. So congratulations to Garrett and his fiance. What was it, Miles Brennan that did it on the field? Yes. I feel like I remember. And then, but Nuss made the engagement over the weekend. I saw some people that weren't the biggest fans of it be like, "You should be focused on football right now, not engagements." But
I guess get it out the way.
Yeah, now it's time to focus on football. But congratulations to QB1 and Mrs. Nussbus. 2 claps for the newly engaged. Ready. D1 Baseball put out some awards. LSU with the Freshman of the Year and the Coach of the Year in Derek Curiel and Jay Johnson. Shout out to D1 Baseball for someone finally getting it right with the Freshman of the Year discussion. It took almost every national media baseball outlet to put out their Freshman of the Year for someone to finally get it correct, and it be Derek Curiel, and Jay brings in another Coach of the Year honor. 2 claps for the 2 Tigers. Ready. 2 LSU Tigers in the MLB All-Star Game. Paul Skeens and Alex Bregman are both selected to be All-Stars. On the Skeens discussion here, this man and what he has done is absolutely unbelievable. I think he's got a 1.94 ERA in his career up to this point, and continues to get either losses or no decisions because his team cannot. Like, it is a masterclass on how to waste a generational talent from what I've seen put out, because Skeens has been absolutely unbelievable from a baseball standpoint, and the Pirates are just wasting away generational talent.
The only pitchers in Major League Baseball history, Major League Baseball goes back quite some time, the only pitchers in Major League Baseball history to record a 19-start span of a regular season with a sub-2 ERA, 90-plus strikeouts, and fewer than 5 wins are Jacob deGrom and Paul Skeens.
God, that's unbelievable, man.
July 6th, Paul Skeens struck out 10 across 5 shutout innings as the Pirates lost 1-0.
God, it's such a waste, man. Pitchers in MLB history with an ERA below 2 and a losing record in their first 19 starts of a season. Paul Skeens, end of list.
And no
with
one
a
else.
1.94 ERA, and he has a 4-7 record. That is absolutely disgusting.
So is this.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
impossible. It's impossible to hit. It looks the exact same.
Yep.
That's 98 and 95. With,
God, that is unbelievable.
I mean, just get me out the box.
It's just
You're
it's
just
unfair.
you're
Is what it
guessing,
is.
and then you're still losing it for the Pirates. Shout out Paul Skeens.
I mean, 19 starts, 25 earned runs, right? So that's about, I don't even know how many runs. I mean, that's what, 1.94.
Yeah, they do the math for you.
Yep, they do. 4 wins. 19 starts, he's allowed 25 earned runs, and he's got 4 wins.
1.95 ERA in his first 42 starts.
Just, I mean, abysmal by the Pirates. Get Paul Skeens out of Pittsburgh now. Now. Thank you, Sabrion. Can we start a petition to get Skeens out of Pittsburgh? Get him out.
This is bad for baseball in the sense of,
This is embarrassing for the MLB.
well, it's bad for the sport because you want to see, like, not the Yankees, not the Dodgers, not, go down the list of, like, the big market teams. Like, you want to see some people stay with the teams that drafted them and be able to build up, like, these lower franchises. But the Pirates are not doing themselves or Major League Baseball any favors by not putting a competitive roster around Paul Skeens and not spending any money and just continually to ride the Major League Baseball gravy train because of the way that the money is made in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Like, they have there's no real impetus to be able to make a competitive team if I'm going to get paid and, like, just be able to pocket the revenue. And so if you're
Right.
Paul Skeens, like, that's why the story sucks, because Skeens is a guy that you can legitimately build your franchise around, go out and spend money while you have him, be competitive, and now the Pittsburgh Pirates are a story where they are a storied franchise. Like, it's not just it's a baseball team that has been around a long time that has
Right.
history, and you just see them not really care. And that's what sucks, because now people want to see Skeens go to
The Yankees,
or the Dodgers, the Red Sox. Like, go somewhere where I can see you play and they try to win.
Yeah.
Because it sets Major League Baseball back.
Right. And from having the World Series last year be Dodgers versus Yankees, the two teams that have the most money and spend the most money. But then it's turning the page, and now you look at a team like the Pirates who hit the lottery in the draft, got a generational talent, but have no reason to try and make it better. Like, no reason to try. Like, you have every reason in the world to build around him, but they're not doing it because they don't have to. Like, unless you want to win. Like, I couldn't imagine being a Pirates fan because it's got to be painful, man. But, like we said, Paul Skeens, Alex Bregman are both MLB All-Stars. Bregman, obviously, with the Red Sox. I think he's still injured, so I don't think he'll play in the All-Star game, but he is selected as an All-Star. And Paul Skeens, hopefully someday, this will be the one time he has a team around him that's actually competent and not the Pittsburgh Pirates. And speaking of the Pirates, they also have the number 2 prospect in the sport, which will ultimately be the number 1 prospect pretty soon in former LSU commit Connor Griffin, who is a man amongst boys. And if you would have seen him in an LSU uniform, it would have been jaw-dropping because he is massive, he's put together, and he's got a sweet, sweet swing. And that's probably the next prospect that that Pittsburgh will waste again. So 2 claps for Skeens and Bregman, the 2 Tigers that are in the MLB All-Star game ready. Next up, watch this. Step back and watch this swing here from Little Big JP, John Pearson, the little brother to Josh Pearson. Little Big John.
Driven in and a walk. It's been punched out.
Watch this sweet swing right here.
2-1 the count.
Oh,
Crushes
that's
this one
ripped.
deep out to left center field. Going back, Edwards, he can't get it.
I don't know what happened there.
Sucks for the outfielder.
Playing it.
But just trot on into second base there, John.
Another double for
Easy
Pearson.
little
John
stand-up
Pearson looks
double.
like he got dressed in the dark.
For the lacrosse Loggers, they get the runner, hit 3 hits.
I'm like, what are we doing
Jersey's
here?
too big.
Everything.
Pants are baggy.
Swing works, though.
But that swing looks good, man. Oh.
That's ripped. With
No,
that,
it is. That's 3 straight games with a double for John Pearson. And the discussion around that post was, make sure you include John in your 2026 LSU lineups. I think it's going to be hard to keep him out. You saw Jay go to him in the postseason multiple times in pinch hit because of that right there.
That's just so, yeah, you can't really.
You can't, I mean.
It's too good to ignore.
Yes.
And they'll find a spot for him somewhere because offense always plays. I see under this post from Inside LSU Baseball where you might want to include John Pearson in your 2026 projected lineups. Absolutely, you should. Like, don't be surprised. But just a dude 337. This ain't SEC pitching, homie. He looked lost at the plate last year. I hope he continues improving, though. Bright future. Like, I disagree with all of that. You're playing nearly professional baseball.
Yeah,
These are all guys that got called to play after college.
Like, John's not there. Like, he's not there for fun.
It's not the Alexandria Aces. Like, this isn't beer league softball.
No.
Now, the outfielder doesn't help my case. I don't know what happened.
But he's talking about the pitching. He's not talking about the.
I think he looks like he got hurt. It looks like a little hamstring.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a men's league clip.
No.
John, like
Jay
league. Johnson didn't send John Pearson to West Monroe to play in the men's league. He sent him to go play against real talent to get better and ready for next season.
It's the Northwoods League.
The Northwoods League. So, but John Pearson, what a swing. Can we watch it again? Play it one more time?
Absolutely.
Because it's just, my favorite part is it looks like a men's league because of his uniform.
Yeah,
he's not.
I mean, it's hard to make this argument, but he looks like they literally handed him a uniform yesterday. Like, all right, you're on the team. Let's go play baseball today, I guess.
He's got an MLB swing.
Yeah, it's
like,
a funny-looking everything.
Driven in and a it's been punched out just one time. 2-1 the count. Crushes this one deep.
God,
I mean,
such a good
crush.
swing.
I don't know what happened here.
Going
This
back,
might. Oh wow.
He can't get it. It's off the
Yeah, it's a
wall.
rolled ankle or
Barr
something.
playing
Yeah,
it,
he might be going home.
and
But this is my
another
favorite part, just the
double
good when he
for
calls time
John
right here.
Pearson.
God,
It's awesome.
he looks like a ringer.
That is a fit. Fit it up. But 2 claps for JP. Ready.
First hit of the day for the lacrosse.
I mean, it looks
Tigers.
ridiculous.
It does.
A runner hit 3 hits.
But nice swing, though.
Couple
That
runs
swing will
driven
play.
in.
I don't care what you dress
I don't
like.
care
if
what
you
you
can
look
swing like that.
Yep.
Next up in the two claps, Chris Blair's call got first place. I think this is the second or third year in a row as the Chris Blair's call against, I think it was the walk-off against Tennessee, won the Louisiana Sports Writers Association call of the year for the, I think it was the second or third time right here. And the reason I included this was because I just want to sit back and listen / watch it again because what a memory it is.
LSU, 2 outs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Jones swings. This one's deep to center field, but Inslee goes back, and this ball is over the batter's eye. Tigers win. Tigers win. Walk it off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The final 6-3 LSU. They take game 1. Early in the Saturday morning hours as Jared Jones gets mobbed as he stomps on home plate. What a night, what a morning. Runners first.
It's the best.
That's as good as it gets, man. I mean, as much as you think about like the rain delay for the fan, I mean, Chris Blair had to sit there through all of that. It's still 1:17 in the morning for him, and he is.
You got to bring the juice.
Wired.
I
would love to know
when he went to bed.
The tally on cups of coffee.
Oh yeah.
At that point, because that is a long night, and man, yes, Lynn's call was outstanding, and Lynn was calling the I was like high school baseball on over the weekend. It was on ESPN. Me and my dad were just scrolling through the channels. And they were playing in Charles Schwab, and it was like California versus Arizona, like high school baseball. I guess it was like all-stars, essentially. And we turn it on, and I'm like, is that Lynn Rollins on the call? And Lynn Rollins is calling high school baseball on ESPN because the grind just doesn't stop. But that Chris Blair call is special, and shout out to him, the best in the business, because you had to put in the effort there. 1:17 a.m. had all of the energy and the juice as Jared Jones walked it off in a memory that will live on forever. 2 claps for Chris Blair. Ready. Last but not least, this one was for Christian. I wish Christian was here to really witness this. What does it say? You got to put that on a T-shirt.
That's great.
Because and that one, that Jared Jones call, he got the pucker up twice.
Double
pucker.
Pucker
up.
Pucker up. Because the ball's in the air forever.
It was. The next 2 claps, the final 2 claps, this one was for Christian specifically because it made me think of him. And I wish he was here to see it. I'm sure he'll go back and watch it after. But he needs to take notes on this guy's play right here. Because this is as good as it gets when you're in the dating pool. And Christian, obviously, like we've said, has been struggling from the dating life standpoint. And this guy's got it figured out. I don't understand how he can fail. This guy cannot fail on a first date because he's got the play calls. He's got his own name at the top. Like, oh, when she sits down, what's your name? He's
Michael.
Like, Michael. Finance something. 75,000, 100,000 if she's bad. 6'3", wear thick soles highlighted. Gotta wear thick soles to be 6'3". Long walks on the beach, volunteering, connecting with nature. I have a boat, lake house, and trust fund. Pace yourself.
5 beers an hour.
And then topics of conversation, yes, astrology, flowers, Colleen Hoover, music, feelings, Grey's Anatomy, feminism, Taylor Swift, and then you can go through the nose yourself.
Oh, see, these are all things I'd love to talk about. 9/11.
No.
This is what I need the note part.
You need the
9/11. 5 Nights at Freddy's. No. Tornadoes. Historical tragedies, including the Titanic. Family history. Mental illness. I can't read the other 2. Politics.
Boston Celtics.
Kanye West.
Yep. No.
That's what Christian needs.
Christian needs the
But
play
the nose
call
are also
sheet.
where I shine.
But
you can't find somebody that you can talk 9/11 with or talk about family history of mental illness. the Boston Celtics or Kanye, we really can't have a conversation.
But 2 claps for this guy. Need to bring out the call sheet on the first day. What I can't imagine what would go through the woman's head when she sits down and she sees the guy flip the call sheet.
Yeah.
When she goes, "So what's your name?" on a blind date. So what's your name? And he goes, Michael.
Occupation?
Finance. Something with finance. It's like, do you have a what is
there?
that?
Yeah, quarterback
nothing?
sheet. Yeah, nothing. It's like
it's a watch.
It's a 40-year-old virgin move. But I could also see Christian doing this.
And I think Christian should now do it.
He would do it.
We should spend a segment where we build it out for him.
Yep.
And then he has to go on a blind date with it.
I would like to do like a Impractical Jokers with him. Maybe give him an earpiece, and we get to kind of coach him through this entire scenario. Instead of going wristband, we just go in-ear monitor and kind of feed him some lines as to what to do. The devil and the angel on his shoulder. Uh-huh. He might even have a freak out.
I'm in the other ear, and he'd be like, he would listen to you so much more than he would listen to me. I've realized being on he's called me, he misses us like crazy. He's called me a lot the last couple of weeks since Omaha, and he is you. It's unbelievable. I
haven't talked to him at all.
I know. He tells me some of the things that, he'll say things, and I'll be like, I failed you. I've tried, and it's been a failure. You are now Lloyd. So 2 claps for that guy, and I guess Christian, because it was his birthday a couple of days ago. Ready. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. Don't forget, every single day we are brought to you by CAS Roofing and Advising, our guy Pierce Patterson from CAS. Don't forget about the raffle that they are doing for LSU football season tickets for the home games. If you are in a 50-mile radius of their office, you are applicable for the drawing. Just make sure you call Pierce, 225-910-0619. Go get a free inspection on your roof. I know there was some hail in Central over the last month and some of the surrounding areas, Zachary as well. A lot of times you only call the roofing company when you've got a leak or an issue. You want to get those things figured out prior. And the way you do that is by having Pierce or one of the other guys go hop on your roof, inspect it, check the crew out, Mason, Gage, Pierce, Andrew, Trent, Al, the guys from CAS Roofing and Advising. They'll get up on your roof, they'll check it out, and then they'll take care of you through the rest of the process. So make sure you call our guy Pierce, the redhead right there in the front, 225-910-0619. Former running back, walked on at ULM, and now he's going to take care of your roof. So appreciate our guys over at CAS Roofing and Advising. And if you enjoyed the show and maybe need a new roof, if you got a roof that is 10 years or older, it's probably about time to get a new one. So make sure you call them, 225-910-0619. We have made it to hour number 2. We will take a quick break. We will reset, and we will be ready to go and close it out here on this Tuesday morning. Glad to be back. Good to see all of you again. We'll be right back after this.
When it comes to your home, the roof over your head matters. At CAS Roofing, we don't just install shingles, we build peace of mind. With years of experience and a commitment to craftsmanship, our team shows up on time, gets the job done right, and treats every project like it's our own home. Whether it's repair, a replacement, or storm damage that caught you off guard, CAS Roofing is ready. We're local, we're dependable, and we stand behind every nail, every shingle, and every promise we make. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about roofing, it's about protecting what matters most. CAS Roofing, built on trust, backed by quality.
Pierce is going to be so happy that was played. That first,
you can't trust Pierce Patterson now.
I mean, come on.
Who else do you want on your roof?
I mean, you don't want anyone other than this guy barreling over defenders on your roof.
If you have drywall you need taken out, just split belly option.
Let him.
Halfback dive.
He was always. He said it. We were hanging out last night. Me and the fellas. We were playing college football 26, and he kept saying something was wrong with the RPO. He was like, because in my life, RPO meant run power often.
Oh yeah.
Not any run pass option. This is run power often.
RPO.
But yeah, no, that was that's awesome. Shout out to Pierce Patterson, 225-910-0619. There's the fellas. We got a lot of football players on that crew. Mason was running back, far left. Pierce obviously running back. Andrew was a wide receiver, and then Gage in the far back was a DB, of course. And obviously, you've met Gage. He's been on the some watch parties and some different things. He's been around. So, but back to the LSU football discussion. The expectations for 2025, I feel like have almost shot up a lot since the video game dropped, because they are the best team in that game. And it's not even close, because you have Caden Durham, who has like 96 speed, and then you've got the fastest wide receiver core in the game. You've got the best pocket passer in the game, and you've got a defense that's stacked with Perkins and Weeks, and Stamps is a 91. And go down the list, you've got a stacked defense. Like the LSU football is the best team in the game, and now it seems like that's shifted people's minds to saying, oh, well, now they're going to be really good in real life, because obviously, NCAA college football is the same as real life football. And they are so good in the game that it's kind of almost boosted the expectations that were already relatively high.
Well, because now people are going to sprint. If you haven't gotten the game, that's obviously a huge coup after it was, almost 20 years since it came out. It comes out last year. LSU was 10 okay. Years. 10 years. LSU was okay. Now it feels like they're the it team to play with. Like, people are going to be – this happens in every video game that comes out. It's like whenever – I think this is an extreme example, but whenever you had Michael Vick in 2004, it's like no Falcons.
Right.
It's starting to feel like it's going to be like no LSU.
Well, it was Lamar Jackson when I think it was – I don't remember which Madden it was. Whichever one he was on the cover of.
Right. It's like
couldn't use them. Madden 16 couldn't use the Giants because that was when aggressive catch was added.
And Odell was a freak show.
OBJ with the aggressive catch was unbelievable. And so, now this LSU team is like, no, when we're doing – when we play online, you cannot – play with LSU, because I'm going to always do it, but playing against somebody, be like, nope, LSU's off the table. If I can't use them, you can't use them, because they're stacked, they're loaded. And I think that it's raised some of the expectations, just because people are now, I guess, looking at it with a closer lens, because there are times where they're probably not going to look at it as closely just from a football standpoint. This makes you look at the roster differently. And things like that. So I think that the expectation should be high. And Lloyd, I want to ask you a question of 3 things. I want you to list 3 things, in your opinion, that you think are the most major deciding factors on LSU's success this upcoming season.
I mean, offensive line, Nussmeier's health, and if you'd asked me 3 months ago, it would have been probably more defensive than anything. But now it feels like, I guess, putting the pieces together defensively on the defensive line, like to see what you have, whether it be Ahmad Bro, whether it be Dom McKinley, Gabe Rutherford, Patrick Payton, all the pieces that you added, you want to be able to see that kind of come to fruition. Because on paper, like you said, LSU did more than probably anybody has done in the transfer portal. All of the new faces, you want to see that chemistry gel, but this doesn't go without Nussmeier. So you want to see the offense take that next step, him obviously be able to protect the football, but also the offensive play calling get better. Like the situational football that you had some missteps in the red zone, that has to get cleaned up to where you want to score 7, not 3. The decision-making in the red zone, whether it be to go for it or to kick a field goal. Like the coaching aspect of this is probably now more of or will be highlighted more than ever because of the talent that you're putting on the field.
You can't blame it on the horses anymore.
No.
Because you've got them. Like, this is the most talented roster.
And so you have to see Sloan take that step offensively. You have to see Brian Kelly be able to make the decisions, whether it be inside the red zone, what they do in the blue zone.
Yes.
Whether it's, take the points or continue to go for it, because it felt like at some points you wanted 7 instead of 3, and there's definite times in games that you can go back and look and go, if you just take the points there, or you started off the year.
Yeah, USC.
First drive.
Game 1, drive 1.
Went for it, twice?
Yeah. Almost showed your hand a little bit.
I wonder what he does with the coin toss, too. Don't forget that.
Yep. Fonz, I don't think you need 3 things. It's only one, offensive line. Look, I think offensive line is number 1 on everybody's list. And I think that's also been highlighted more because of the video game, because LSU's O-line is the one weakness that team has, is the offensive line is not very good. So I think that should be everybody's number 1 going into the season, is you've got a lot of unproven guys and transfer guys on the offensive line. You don't know what the 5 is going to be. There's no definite 5 yet. That's obviously going to be something to look forward to when you get to fall camp time, when you start to see what's rolled out there, what the first group is, how that grows, getting ready for August 30th. Offensive line should be number 1. I'm going to say 3 different things the way you said, because I agree with all the things that you said, Lloyd. I think that the run game is mightily, mightily important. Like, you have got – Nussmeier cannot drop back 50 times. He should not throw the ball 50 times ever. He shouldn't throw the ball more than 40. He really shouldn't throw the ball. It should be a balanced attack to where Nussmeier's decision-making, because that's going to be my second one. And I think those two go hand in hand of, if you can run the ball effectively, and that is a valid part of your team, and you can go to it to get, Nussmeier shouldn't drop back on 3rd and 3.
Right.
You should be able to hand it off and get 3 yards. But last season, the ball was in Nussmeier's hands way too often, which isn't a knock against Nuss. It's just, if you throw the ball 50 times, you're bound to make a handful of mistakes, because that's just how it works. And so if you're able to run the ball effectively, and Nussmeier, you're not having to put all that pressure on Nuss to be the only thing that's effective, that's where his decision-making will come in. And then I guess my third thing would be the defensive backfield. More specifically, I know the defensive meshing. I think you have a lot of new faces and not a lot of things set in stone, especially at the cornerback position. I think you've got one guy that's proven on that side of the ball in Mansour Delane, which, I would say that's solidified in his spot. I think Halsey also as well, but he hasn't even really been on the field from a football standpoint with LSU yet. So those guys kind of meshing and being in the right position and putting it together is going to be massively important as well. But I think really, and that's the crazy thing, because the last 3 years, the aspect that's let LSU down, or 5 years, has been the defense. LSU has not been a good defensive program since 2019. But now it feels like the discussion is almost wholly around the offense at this point. And I don't know if that's wrong or right. And I'm going to pose that question to you, Lloyd. Do you think that the defensive additions are almost being like we're not talking about the defense enough just because we feel like the talent has been improved, that it should just be a given that this LSU defense is good?
Well, I think it's because of a couple of factors, but namely because of what you have on the staff on that side of the football. I think people trust Kevin Peoples, they trust Blake Baker, they trust Corey Raymond. They like those pieces, as opposed to offensively, it still feels like you're unproven on that side of the football. You have Frank Wilson, but then it feels like you like what you have with Coach Davis on the offensive line, but it hasn't really improved, I guess, markedly in terms of what your offensive line has looked like. Like, it wasn't very good last year. And now you have, one question mark in terms of your defensive line coach, just because it's somebody that's never done it before. And so you look at that and you go, okay. But when you have the horses that you have, and I think everybody kind of looks at the tip of the spear of Blake Baker in year 2 at LSU and what he's done and, like, what his resume has continued to look like, I think that's where you look at the defense and go, okay, now just put the pieces together. Right. And you like the architect of who's putting that together. Like, I think that's why the defense hasn't been really talked about that much or as much. And when you look at, like, the hire of the defensive line coach, it's somebody that LSU fans, like in Kyle Williams, that they know, trust. Even though he hasn't done it before, it's a name that they recognize, so I don't think there's a lot of question marks there until you get on the field.
Yeah.
And Blake Baker being a linebackers coach, and with the guys he has in that room, you feel very good about that. With Harold Perkins returning, Whit Weeks returning, like all of those guys,
right.
it makes sense that you should have a little bit of confidence in what that defense is going to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I found it interesting that just when we talk about it, and really almost anybody talks about LSU football going into 2025, a lot of the conversation is around a lot of these different factors offensively. Mm-hmm. Sloan, Nuss, O-line, run game, Atkins, wide receivers, go down, Trey'Dez Green's in-line blocking, go down the list. Like, there's so many discussions offensively. There are still a lot of things defensively that have to be proven. Like, it has to go, like, as much as it's been improved, and I trust Blake Baker and the other, go down the list of his staff, Olsen, Peoples, Raymond, all of the guys, Williams. I trust all of them, and I think they're all extremely talented. I'm still kind of in the standpoint of, like, as good as I think this defense can be and will, like, I think they're going to be talented. Like, I think this is a top 20 unit on paper for LSU, like that LSU will have, which is markedly better than it's been for the past half of a decade since LSU won the national championship in 2019. You still got to see it on the field. Like, I remember last season going into fall camp, watching that defense and being like, okay, this is like we saw the improvements last year in fall camp of, like, they're in the right places, they're making plays when they're there to be made, this, that, and the other. You saw it on the field during the fall where they won you the Ole Miss game in October. They played extremely well against Arkansas right after that. I just think LSU football right now, it's just kind of the standpoint of, I got to see it on August 30th that this defense is as good as it seems it will be on paper. Because that's just kind of where that's where LSU defense in 2025 is that it has not been a good unit year in, year out. And I think this is the team that has the ability and the talent to do so. Just got to see it. But I'm excited about the pieces they have.
Well, yeah, and I think that some of, like, the defensive question marks are probably overblown just because of how bad it's been in recent history, right? Like, you don't really – I was just going through the box scores of LSU last year, and, like, you look at some of these scores, like, you give up 27 to USC and lose, I would say that's a win.
Yeah.
Like, South Carolina, 33 points, but that was a turnover-ridden – like, that. Some of these points are given up by the offense in a way. Like, UCLA, you only give up 17. South Alabama, whatever, but people were nervous about that game because of the way the quarterback plays, and you were just like, LSU still has a concern of stopping a running quarterback. Ole Miss, offense shows up. You only give up 26, though. Like, you should win that football game. Arkansas, best game of the year, probably from both sides, 34-10. Like, then you give up 38 to Texas A&M, but how much of that was short field for Texas A&M and your kryptonite, which became a quarterback? Like, if you just look at halftime of that game, it's 17-7. After 2 quarters.
Right. No, I mean, the game plan for Connor Weigman was
too good.
Yes.
Too good. It got you in trouble.
Right. But then the next game is the one where
the wheels fell off. And then Florida, I mean, I wouldn't say they performed poorly against Florida. They're like that last touchdown Florida got at the end of the game where it was kind of a breakaway run. Yeah, I mean, that's just a backbreaker.
But yeah, I think Oklahoma was one of the most complete performances they had as well.
Like DJ Lagway only completed 13 passes.
Right. Yeah. The offense was the struggle against Florida. What, they scored 16? Was it 27-16?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think it can be overblown, but I also think it's almost. I also think it's also understated somewhat, like that you still have to see the defense go out there and do it because it just hasn't.
It hasn't been your strength.
Been the strength, and that's almost at this point the way LSU is being talked about as if it is, like that defense is the strength, and trust me, that's what I want more than anything else. Is for the defense to be the strength of this LSU football team, because if it is, that means you're probably going to be pretty competitive in every single game that you play in and should have a very good chance at winning them. But you got to figure that out. It's going to be quite the test week 1 against a very talented quarterback in Cade Klubnik, wide receiver core, and then on the flip side, the Clemson defense is absolutely loaded. But yeah, it's crazy just kind of the discourse around the LSU defense and what you're saying, because you're exactly right. Like, when you really look at last season, it
was such a step in the right direction.
6 quarters that were really bad, maybe 8, because remember the first half against UCLA wasn't the prettiest.
No.
But the really bad was 6 quarters. The second half against A&M and all 4 quarters against Alabama.
Yeah. And then 1 quarter against Nichols, and everybody wanted to sign
Guggenheim. Stud.
Like, people were leaving the stadium because the LSU defense was so bad.
Yeah. And they couldn't run the football, which they couldn't.
That's where, like, if I have one question mark and that's in the chat also, I think it's an easy one to say. It's just you haven't seen the offensive line play together. Like, you had 3 years.
Well, you don't know who it is.
Right. You had 3 years of bookend tackles with Will Campbell and Emory Jones on both sides where you didn't even have to think.
Right.
And now
you had Dellinger, who'd been there forever.
Right.
Frazier, who came in year 1 with Kelly. Like,
you're retooling like essentially 5 spots.
Yes. Like, I don't think
people have been markedly impressed with who you brought in the portal. Like, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing with people not giving up, not coming in and immediately starting. Like, you went to go get a center, you went to go get somebody to come play tackle, and you haven't seen those guys be like, oh, absolutely stranglehold on the spot.
Yeah,
it's what you had last year wasn't very good, so are these guys competing?
Yeah, no, it's going to be definitely something to have an eye on once fall camp gets here. Like,
that's what everybody's going to watch. Because you know what you have with the wide receiver room, you know the skill. It's just a matter of them getting on the same page, which when you have Nussmeier looking the way that he does and leading the way that he is, like, I'm not concerned about that. Right. He also looks like a little bit fitter. Like, he looks like he has actually, like, dropped weight. And we saw the Wilson Alexander article where he talked about getting, like, quick twitch muscles in shape, but he also worked on losing weight and, like, losing bad weight. And it's the first time he's ever tried to or ever had to not bulk up. And it's more of, like, refining himself to become more of an athlete and be able to run the football. You can see it. Like, he used to have a little fat face, and now he looks like more of a, like, trimmed up athlete as opposed to somebody that had to gain weight to be able to play this position and play in the SEC.
Yeah, no, I think when I was talking last week and the thought process was somebody asked me about Nussmeier and, like, why they were like, is it only because of Daniels and Burrow that there are expectations for him to make this leap from year 1 to year 2? And as much as I think that plays a factor, because it does, because LSU's seen these 2 massive leaps from first year starting to second year starting. But I think that as much as that kind of plays a factor, and I also think it's because now he gets a full season of sitting back, watching 13, 14 games of film of himself, something that he's never gotten. He's never gotten to do that at LSU. He's never gotten to sit back and watch. Like, he had he had 4 quarters of true film to really sit back and watch in the Wisconsin bowl game going into this season. That was the only start he had at LSU. He played the Arkansas game his freshman year where he came in after 1 drive of Max Johnson and played the rest of the game, but he didn't have any film to sit back and watch. Now he's got film against USC, Alabama, Florida, A&M, Arkansas, South Carolina, to go down the list. Ole Miss, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great that he gets to sit back and watch and learn from. But also notice other things like I wasn't in as good of shape as I needed to be a starting quarterback. Like the amount of things he learned this past season that he can now adjust and fix in the offseason. As much as LSU as a program needed to do that, of address needs, look at what they had and didn't have, Garrett Nussmeier as a player internally gets to do the same thing. Of, okay, I get to watch the film. I need to work on this, that, and the other. I noticed that I look like this. This looks off. I need to fix that. Now he's got this entire offseason to really commit to doing that. And I think that's why the expectations are as high as they are, is because now he goes into it knowing it's his job and having the experience and the ability to go back, look at it, watch it, and fix it.
That was one of the biggest talking points of going into this year was, I think the expectations of Nuss going into his inaugural season as a starter were probably a little overhyped because of how much time he spent at LSU, and
right.
you just thought he would step in, and with all credit deserved, he did. He stepped in and played phenomenal, threw for almost 5,000 yards, almost
right.
30 touchdowns. He without a doubt had a really good year. Now, the expectation to make that leap of throw for 7,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly fair to be able to do, because he played well enough to win you football games last year. Now, do I expect him to improve and get better? Yes, I think there's things you could point to on film that he'll be able to watch, where Texas A&M, this year I don't think you lose that game.
Right.
Florida, this year I don't think you lose that game, because you have marketed experience of being able to, all right, you could point to certain moments in that game as to why they lost, and you could say it was related to quarterback play.
Yeah.
And then you saw the offense kind of get into a tizzy where Nuss was playing good enough that they're just give him go win us football games.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to do to somebody that started at that point 4 games, and you didn't have a run game, and there was nothing you could really do other than say, Nuss, go try to win us football games. And when it got down to it like that, you put somebody in that opportunity, or you give him that many opportunities to do something where something bad can happen. Eventually it's going to. You saw at South Carolina, you kind of get, South Carolina was playing reckless. It happens. That's part of football. Where does he get bailed out? Yeah, sure, because you still made the mistake of throwing the interception, right? And then you have, Alabama, you can't even point to anything because you never were in the football game. But Texas A&M, you certainly can. Florida, you didn't make enough plays to go win, and you were in that football game long enough to win it. USC didn't make enough plays to win, but there's certainly flashes. And now I think those games, because of the experience, you win those football games now as opposed to losing them. That's where the experience comes in. That's where people start looking at the totality of the season and go, this should be a 10-win football team.
Yeah. Lewis in the chat, when LSU only wins 8 games this year, will you losers finally come to realize that this program/coach isn't any good? The program is trash.
Okay.
That last part I wholeheartedly disagree with. I don't think the program is trash whatsoever. I think the program that has been built has been very good. That's one of the one things that I will defend from a Brian Kelly standpoint of what he took over to what it is now. If there's one thing he's done is it's build the program, because it was in shambles when he took it over.
Yeah.
Absolutely just crash and burn, done.
39
scholarship players, 11-11 in 2 seasons of 2020 and 2021. You won 11 games in 2 years before Kelly got here. You won 10 games, made an SEC title, SEC championship game berth year 1. If there's one thing that has been done, it is build the program back up. But if LSU wins 8 games this season, if that happens, which I don't think it will, if it does, their changes will be made. That is a complete and utter tragedy if that happens. But if there's one thing I'll defend, it's that the program has been built up to this point. That's one thing that I won't argue against. Now, should LSU, were mistakes made in different spots? Yeah, the original defensive hires, that was a mistake. And the result of that mistake is you should have won a national championship in 2023.
Yeah.
And you didn't because of mistakes that were made. This season, I don't see any of those mistakes on paper right now. I also didn't see the defense that you had in 2023 coming. I didn't think they were going to be very good, but I didn't see it being the worst I've ever laid my own eyes on.
The worst in LSU history.
Right. Like, that was awful.
And it's just two things that, like, it's something that just can't happen.
Right.
You have a defense that has, and it just felt like it got worse and worse over time, where it became unwatchable at times, and it just became, okay, this is who we are. Like, that's the part that really, from a head coaching perspective, like, I think that's where he lost a lot of his, I guess a lot of his favor. Because at some point, you have to be able to go, this has to get better because look at what we're doing on offense. And you never made any changes defensively throughout the year that got you better. You were worse. And it became, well, it's just the Jaden Daniels show. Whenever he gets fumbles one time against Ole Miss, you lose in a game where you had to score 60 points.
Right.
He gets knocked out of Alabama. Guess what? You lose because you lost your Superman. But it was because your defense never made the adjustment to, we have a generational offense. We have one of the best offenses that college football has ever seen. We have a player that, look what he's doing in the NFL right now. We have a Heisman winner. Let's figure something out on defense to where we don't have to score 40 times a game and instead just be able to be competent, and there was no changes made. That's where I think he lost a lot of his, I guess, favor from an LSU perspective, or at least from my eyes of what a coach should do. I don't care what side of the ball you operate on. You have to be able to do something to make a change, whether it was calling Kevin Peoples into – I mean, do you remember the conversation that we're having that they didn't know how to run cover 2 and we're drawing it up at halftime? Like, that's something that can't really be a conversation that's had.
Yeah, no. I mean, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right. So, I mean, I think you've seen the mistakes that were originally made, and they have now been solved, in a sense. You revamped that entire defensive staff. You saw the improvements from 23 to 24. You've upgraded that side of the ball again from a player standpoint. And so you expect to see another jump from 24 to 25. But if there is a 8-win season, I would say that something went terribly wrong. Like, I would be so very surprised to see LSU win only 8 games this season and there not be some absolute tragedy that happened, whether it's an injury to a key player or multiple key players, or just go down a list of things that can happen. I don't see LSU only winning 8 games with that being with the roster they have now, without there being some sort of Nussmeier goes down for 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And something like if something like that happens, then I could understand it. I don't see this team going 8-4.
No, what's Brian Kelly's record at LSU? 29-11?
I think.
Not the best, not the worst,
right,
but something you would certainly expect to be better whenever he comes to LSU, and that's part of the conversation, too. He thought it'd be easier. And I guess if you want to give him time, I guess the college football landscape has changed. You've seen the adjustments made. You've seen coaches leave.
Right. I mean, it changed the second he got to LSU. Like, 2022 was the first year of all of it.
Yeah, and I don't think NIL was where it is right now, but the transfer portal was, and I think people were, navigating at their own pace. And when it came to LSU, it was they were slow to change.
Yes.
And then you saw the pivot, and then the pivot again, and now you're where you are right now, I think that's where the pressure comes from, is you were very vocal about what you needed, and it was you being a head coach and making $100 million wasn't enough. Now it's I need more. You get more, and now you're here.
Yep.
And if you don't succeed or go to a college football playoff or put together a season that is deemed, I guess, a success, and that would be college football playoff, potentially national championship, yeah, are those expectations high? Of course, but you've done this to yourself. You came into LSU and you thought you were like you're the $100 million man. You come in here and you don't really take it seriously. You kind of have your flippant attitude towards the South and towards LSU, and you think you're smarter than the smartest guy in the room. And you come in with your wholesale changes and look at then you have to go back on your word and rehire all the people that you thought weren't good enough to be here, and all of the people that you brought in were actually the mistake. Like, you've made mistakes here,
right?
And
that is one place where I will give credit on solving it. Like, because you could just.
Well, you can only be so stubborn.
But I mean, you could be like you could like. Matt House could have stayed one more year,
and I think that he wanted him to. But the noise and the public pressure of LSU is very real,
right?
And I think that's what. If he is not motivated to do well here now, he never will be, because I think that got extremely loud for him whenever he wanted to do something that nobody else did. He wanted to keep Matt House. It felt like it, because how long did the firing process take? It took forever. And so it wouldn't be that hard to surmise that maybe he wanted to keep him, and they're trying to figure out a way to do that. And then you hear the public pressure. You have your athletic director. You're like, this isn't happening, dude. You don't have the worst defense in LSU history and get to keep your job.
Right.
And so you have to go out and fix it. And the reason I think he'd wanted to keep it is because there's one hire he could make that would make everybody happy, but it was one that he already let get out the door, and he doesn't want to admit the mistake that he made already. That's why Corey Raymond gets a 2-year deal instead of a 3-year deal. And then you see the one coach that's out there that was on your staff leave, and you could have retained him and you didn't have to go through all this, but now you have to tuck tail, swallow your pride, and go make another hire. He did.
Made the hires. And I think that his tune has changed. Like, I feel like in the spring pressers, the judge me on or keep the receipts national championship comment, like, that was a different tune than we had ever heard Kelly at a press conference. Like, that felt like almost like raw emotion. Because a lot of times the knock against it felt like fake emotion, like the pounding of the table. It didn't feel real. Mm-hmm. We're keeping receipts and see you at the national. Like, that one felt a little different because that's not a politically correct button-up PR answer. And I do feel like the tone shifted a tad bit. Sam Hanna asked in the chat, would you say BK's situation this year is more like Ryan Day's last year?
Yes.
Eerily similar. Where Ryan Day could not get over the hump at Ohio State, could not beat Michigan, still didn't, but like could not make it happen. Michigan won a national championship, and so Ohio State spent whatever the $20 million or whatever it was on keeping players, bringing in players, Judkins and Howard, and getting a Jeremiah Smith out of high school. Go down the list of the things they did.
Caleb Downs from Alabama.
Right, like it was, okay, you either win a national championship or
you're not a good coach.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Like, because you've got no excuse. I don't think it's the same level of you have to win a natty for BK. But the first hurdle is you got to get in the dance. You absolutely cannot be, well, bada bing, bada boom, 9 games or less would be a colossal failure. 9 games is a failure because you don't make the playoff 9-3.
Well, you're on the doorstep of not. Like,
right.
You really don't
if you
know.
do, you snuck in. Like, it's from the logic with the 12-team playoff is 10 wins in.
And Ryan Day was starting, since he took over for Urban Meyer.
Go back to the jump.
3-0, 13-1, 7-1, 11-2, 11-2, 11-2, 14-2 at the national championship. He got to the dance, but he would lose immediately. That's a markedly better resume than what Brian Kelly has done since he's been at LSU. I know he has more time. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 more years. 3 more years. But that's Ryan Day winning 11 games every year, and his ass was still in the jackpot.
Right.
And for Brian Kelly, I feel like that's where then you put together the roster and do the things. They still kind of had a wonky year until they turned it on the college football play. It was like, this is the best team in the country.
Yeah.
And it was not even close. But that's where the comparison is with LSU. You did the same thing Ohio State did last year. You went out and you spent, and you unabashedly spent money and told people you were doing it, and it becomes you could either be one of the most feared teams in the country or a laughingstock of
right.
This is what you paid for. You're the coach of this. Like, that's where you're at. If you're Brian Kelly and you don't win, and you have all of the quotes that you have out there of I'll see you in the national championship. We're keeping receipts. So judge me in year 3, and now it's year 4. Like, you want to judge off year 3? Because I don't think you do.
No, it is grabbing all of your chips and pushing them into the middle of the table.
Yeah.
You either win the pot, which this year is making the playoff, or you lose everything because you've got no chips left to play. Like there's no more. You've got the staff. Like I've compared it to Dennis Allen and the Saints a lot because I feel like when you look at the way it went with Dennis Allen, it was the quarterback's the problem. Like they need to get a proven quarterback to come in. It's not Dennis Allen, it's the quarterback. Okay, sign Derek Carr. Still not good. Okay, it's the play calling. Pete Carmichael is the issue. You need to go get a new offensive coordinator. All right? Fire Carmichael. Hire, what was his name? Kubiak. Mm-hmm. That didn't work out. So then what's left? It's a Dennis Allen problem. That's what was the last excuse. Now, I think the Saints' issues are bigger than that, but it was you got to exhaust every option. Well, so far at LSU, that was Matt House's fault. Well, guess what? You solved that.
Well, you can go back even farther. Like Brian Kelly didn't have the pieces. He has to put together an entire team, which it's true, but that shit is so far out the window now.
Right.
But yeah, but that's where it started. It's like, oh, you have to give him time to be able to rebuild a roster.
Right.
Okay.
And had the time.
Then it became a special teams issue and a recruiting issue and then a defensive issue,
right.
All of which feels like you have fixed.
Solved those problems.
Now the roster issue fixed.
Yes, didn't have the horses defensively.
Now
best transfer portal class in the country, and it's like your entire defense has been retooled. Like to me, LSU raised their floor and ceiling more than any other team in the sport. If LSU would have just kept the same roster, a handful of portal guys mixed in, and ran it back next season, then the 8 wins is viable. They didn't. They went and absolutely retooled their entire team, and your whole defense is going to be transfers. Like you could genuinely see LSU run out a defense that has 2 transfers at defensive end, 2 transfers at defensive tackle, 2 transfers at corner, 2 transfers at safety, linebacker being the only untouched room because you didn't bring anybody in. It could be like you could put out a defense with a whole that would leave 3 positions, 8 guys from that did not wear an LSU uniform last year. Jakeem Jackson, Montour Lane, Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Bernard Gooden, Sadir Mitchell, A.J. Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley. You can see all 8 of those guys on the starting. Like, those are the changes you went out and made. We'll see it on August 30th. Don't forget, every single day we are brought to you by AJ Sports Cards here in Baton Rouge. We went to their event last weekend, and it was awesome, where they had a bunch of vendors in there, any card known to mankind in that building. And if you just swing over to AJ Sports Cards at 3348 Drusilla Lane here in Baton Rouge, you'll see all of those cards, some memorabilia and everything on display. It's as cool as it gets. We've got 3 decks or boxes of cards here. We've got basketball, baseball, football, the big 3 sitting here in front of me. AJ Sports Cards takes care of us, so make sure y'all go take care of them. Go to AJ Sports Cards. Tell them you heard about it here on Tingle & Co. We will have a special interview that we will be doing this afternoon, just to make it'll be the first LSU football interview, as we will have an LSU football player. Can't come in the mornings because of workouts, so we will have a guest in this afternoon, record it, and you'll get to see that tomorrow morning here on Tingle & Co. Very excited to get that interview done and make it happen, and we'll get that out to you tomorrow morning. So Hunter Hall is flexing some athletic connections and some Wordles. I guess we should connect athletically because it has been a while since we've done that. And the last one we did was an epic failure. Seth Dardar, which, first off, excellent interview. Yeah, great guy.
Feel bad for the guy.
He's pissed. He was like he said, I'm going to come back in, and it has nothing to do with wanting to talk about LSU baseball or get interviewed. It is strictly because he wants to pass the athletic connections that we absolutely failed.
Just mishandled. The funniest thing was like, we were like, that's the first time we've ever lost. Like, y'all have never lost this before? Like, no, Seth, we have not lost this before. And now we have, and he does. He took it personally.
He did.
So
He felt bad.
he should.
Yes, and
Because the chances of that are slim to fucking none.
But the good thing is, it's got him in to come back.
Yeah, now he's got to come back.
He's hooked.
He did say if we stumble, we could always zoom him.
Yes, and then very much possible. So I don't know exactly what this crown thing is in the chat, guys, but Hunter Hall's number 1, Beakes is number 2 right now, and who's number 3?
It is your top fans. Top fans works as such. Top fans in XP. What's the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out in the community. The top 3 get special badges in the live chat. It resets every stream so you can always try again. How to get in the leaderboard? You need to collect XP. Send live chats, send super chats, and send super stickers.
There you go. Hunter Hall, Deaconess, and Brian Burgess are 1, 2, and 3. Andrew Messina is number 4 and number 5 in the 2. I always wondered why there's a blue A or a purple A, and it's because it's 2 different YouTube accounts. So appreciate you guys as we're about to connect athletically here. We've got okay. Manning, Stallback, Star. I feel like that's pretty obvious, right? Okay.
I didn't know what it was, though.
There we go. All right. Okay.
Drill, plunk, hit, beam.
There we go. Old Dominion, Marshall, James Madison, and Troy.
There we go, boys.
And then I wonder what this one is.
Stanford.
Okay, makes sense. Well, how about that, huh?
right back in the saddle.
Pretty easy. Felt good. That felt good.
Just
got the. You know,
we clip that to the Dar.
We'll send that to Seth.
This is what they're supposed to look like, not Canada.
Yes. Yeah. No. It was like, give us as much credit as possible. It was a Canadian Athletic Connections, and it was unbelievable.
And the New York Times. This is America.
So
close to the 4th of July as well. It's really insulting.
It was very insulting. How was everyone's 4th of July, Lloyd? How was yours?
Great.
Didn't ask. I hope everyone had a great one.
It used to be. Oh, you know why? It was Canada Day. July 1st. That day was? Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it. I just Googled it.
Well,
I knew it was something like that.
It had to be something. There had to be some reason.
But the 4th of July used to be one of the most raucous holidays you can have. Always a good day of day drinking, debauchery, fun, boating, all the things that you want to do. Now everybody has kids. So there's really nothing to do. I'm just over there on an island.
Watching some fireworks.
No fireworks. Kids can't do it.
Really?
Because they're babies. They're like not even a year old.
Oh, whatever.
That's what I said.
Put headphones on them. Look at Drew Brees at the Super Bowl. Pop those headphones on that baby.
But it was a disaster.
Well, I'm sorry.
But the next day.
Okay, July 5th.
Only 2 babies.
Christian's birthday.
Yes. I think there was 6 of us. 8 of us. Something like that. But 2 babies. And then they had a above ground pool, underrated.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. It shouldn't get knocked the way it does.
Right.
Still a pool.
It
works the same way.
And so we, had one of those little skip balls. Threw that around.
Yep.
Did a little monkey in the middle. Did a little football, and then also I learned about the tornado, which I was not privy to. In the above ground pool circle, you just start running. Get like 6 people going at the same time, and we did it. Exhausted ourselves. But then we rode the wave.
That's good cardio.
It was fun. And we got to, roll, because once you kind of get it moving, then you get to just float and enjoy the
wave pool.
Yeah, you get to the fruits of your labor.
There you go.
The fruits of your labor can be enjoyed now. You get just kind of tossed about after you created a current. But then we did it too much, and we started to overrun the pool. But still a good time.
Too powerful.
Fried fish, daiquiris.
Oh, how was the fried fish? What type of fish?
Delicious. Perch, I think. Something good, because they caught them, and then the guy that cooked them is at his house, but he used to be a fry cook at George's. And we're like, I never do that, but he
sounds
got
like a win.
He got to flex his muscle a little bit.
I like that.
So it was a good time.
It's always good to be friends with people with talents like that.
We did the the bagged fries, like the Oritas or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I beer battered a couple. Like, put them in the fish batter.
Yep.
And they were like, this won't make a difference. Like, you wait and see. Best fries on the table.
Don't doubt me.
Yeah. Just got back from London.
Biggest. I got very drunk, Superior Margs and Jello shots, Roman candled my friend's car, almost sniped through the driver window. Yes, it was open, and broke a toilet tank cover. New tank cover and plunger arriving tomorrow. P-Dub, the tequila was flowing. Glimmer, a lazy river shouldn't require work. Essentially, because I mean, that's what you were doing. So I was on the beach at the Hangout, which is quite the place. That was my first time ever at the Hangout. The Hangout was never a Tingle family place. Ate dinner there, and it's unbelievable. You're eating your meal, and then all of a sudden somebody's standing on your table.
I've never.
Please don't step on my my
cheeseburger
snapper po' boy that I'm eating right now, which was very good. But I'd rather your feet not near it.
So why are they getting on the table?
Because this is the Hangout thing is every hour on the top of the hour for, I don't know if it's just July 4th or when, but for July 4th was the guy, they had like an MC. He would get up on the table. He would say, everyone with a birthday in July or August, stand up, get on the table and dance. Oh. And they'd play music and people would dance. And like I guess the kids
you would
like
definitely lie about your birthday. Like, I'm not doing that.
And then like I was sitting at the bar that's right behind this, and they just shot foam out and the kids would run around. I was like, I can't believe all these parents were like in on this. Like their kids covered in soap.
That's probably the only bath they get in old Alabama.
But then they would do like, then all the moms and all the dads would get up on the table and they would dance.
Oh, so they're just getting hammered.
But it was just like, we were in there eating for about 2 hours. So, I mean, there's 3 separate times that people were getting up on tables and dancing while I was eating.
It's so funny that you're there sober for all of this. Like, everybody else is absolutely blasted.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I enjoyed it whenever I was not in the middle of eating.
Right.
Like, when it was just like I'm hanging out, listening to the music, dancing, blah, 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 whatever, it was fun. To me, it is a very sacred time when I have my meal on my plate in front of me. I don't want any of these things going on while I'm eating.
I agree.
All the servers had water guns, and they were handing out water guns to children. And so it was
I don't want wet food.
It was all out bad. I mean, I was drenched because they're just shooting water guns all the time. It was unbelievable. It was cool. Fireworks were awesome getting to watch them on the beach, but Hangout is quite the place to go enjoy a meal. Would not recommend dinner there, but it is a nice place to hang out. The courtyard was cool. They had live music and all that. That was awesome. But the dinner aspect of it,
man, you need to get that.
You need to eat somewhere else and then go to the Hangout because it was cool. But that's the
shark
bite or whatever. Shark attack.
Yep, that looks delicious.
And there's like a red something in the shark.
Oh, a little blood.
You flip it over and it's the blood in the water. Like, it's cool. Like, it's a cool place. It's just, to me, it's just not a dinner spot. Like, I don't want to enjoy my meal there. But I'll hang out. I'll hang out at the Hangout, but I'm not going to eat at the Hangout.
That's awesome that you are subject to that.
It's just,
I just know the way that you eat. That's like, because if you don't drink, you don't smoke, what do you get derived pleasure from? It's like
my meal.
This food is the most pleasurable thing I'm going to get from this place, and now I'm getting shot with water and foam, and people are dancing. Yeah, like, get the fuck away from me. I'm trying. Y'all don't understand. So I get it. I've been around you whenever you eat, and it is very much and then you go.
It's therapy.
Yeah.
Like, it's
almost like a job.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to get this done.
And I'm the opposite.
And but like, I was at a table, like I was with a family, and I mean, like, there's kids, like everyone was enjoying it. So I was trying to not be the Debbie Downer of like, can we all stop so I can eat?
Take it to the bathroom.
Be like, I'm gonna go sit outside. Yeah, actually. But it was a good time. I enjoyed the fireworks on the beach and all that. It was cool, but just not a big dinner at the Hangout. And everybody was like, "You've never been here before?" I was like, "Y'all must not know me and my family. This is not a Tingle family place. Nice, quiet dinner, and then go enjoy the fireworks and the festivities. This is not my type of place, but
I'm glad you got through that. Sounds like hell.
Yeah, I did make it through. The beach was great, though. I mean, the weather was nice. I was scared there was supposed to be like a tropical storm or something in the Gulf, and it ended up not happening, and the weather was great. So it was a good time. And Travis, I did not hang on the pull-up bar for 2 minutes.
Oh, you could have, huh?
I didn't even want to try. I still got a bum pinky. I still can't close it all the way.
That's true.
But I didn't want to try and embarrass myself. Because a lot of people did.
Because good thing the homeowner's in London for 2 weeks. Hey, you got time.
But I appreciate you guys. We made it to 9 a.m. this morning. We will we'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9. We will have our first LSU football interview
of the year
tomorrow morning, getting ready for fall camp in August, SEC Media Days next week, right? Yeah. A week from yesterday. Brian Kelly will be on the stand at SEC Media Days. Lloyd, who do you think he takes with him? Or should we save that for tomorrow?
Save it for tomorrow.
Save that for tomorrow. I want to run out of things to talk about.
Quarterback season 2 with Joe Burrow starts today.
It did come out. College football, the video game, comes out
Football's
officially
here, baby.
Thursday.
They've got the time killers to get us to the season.
They do, and we need them. We did it today. We talked about logos on jerseys and fields a whole lot.
Yeah, we overanalyzed it. Well,
I'm glad that people realize that's like, you got to understand what we are doing. It is something to talk about for 5 minutes.
Right.
We got to find a way to make this 20.
Right.
So
Stretch.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9. We will see you then.
It's Tingle and Co.